it's taking so long? Huh? Said, how come it's taking so long? I don't know. They're backed up. Wait a minute. Where did you take it? Where did I take it? Yeah. To that place on Columbus and 85th. Okay? What, Jimmy Sherman? Yeah. Yeah, I know the guy. I take my stuff in there all the time. Yeah, I bet I can get your watch back by tomorrow morning. No, Kramer, I don't want you to say anything to him. No, I'd be happy to. He's a friend of mine. I like to follow the regular procedures. I don't want any special treatment. Hey, I'm gonna get that watch back for you by tomorrow, buddy. You see? Bring me the receipt. I get that too. You're right. It didn't keep good time. My parents gave it to me, but I didn't like it, so don't mention it again, okay? Yeah, all right. Wait. What was that about? Oh, no, Good evening to all my wonderful spiritual brothers and spiritual sisters out there. I wish you all the best, and as always, I hope everything's going well for you all and your families, minus the targeting. Okay. Through most of your experiences, you probably had encounters with people who have had narcissistic, a narcissistic or a sociopathic or even a mentality to where it seems as though they engage more with negativity than they do with positivity. And it seems that, some of you may have noticed a level of attention of some of these perpetrators, what they build off of some of the individuals you deal with. A lot of them get off from toxic mentality. And one key thing you're going to learn, you're going to have to know at least, you cannot fight hate with hate. You cannot fight pride with pride. You can only fight that stuff with love, and that's exactly as far as it's going to be. When these individuals seek to try to put you down, try to lower your level of energy, try to basically put you on the level of mentality of which they are, to try to get you to act the same way that they would act out, the same type of way that they would think, the same type of mentality, is because in actuality, you, by your own definition, without even doing anything, even your actions can define you too, but just your own state of mind, your own state of self is more than enough to define you as an upstanding being, a true upstanding being who does not lower themselves to do these lower things, such as the ignorance that goes along with this, the teasing, the taunting. It's very childish when an adult acts like that. A person who just doesn't have control over how they act in public or just around people in general. And some of these individuals who you may find yourself dealing with, you got to understand that technically, then it's just not going to work with that. You see, the whole point is, the reason as to why they act that way towards you is because that's the reaction they're looking to get. Any level of attention, especially negativity, which is probably the one they want the most, is what they seek to gain out of you. They seek to gain a response, a trait to where it causes you to have to act or react to what they've done. They get off on these things. It's just that simple. I know some people may find this hard to believe. Some people might find this even incredibly ridiculous, but it's just the truth. I've learned to not feed into a lot of the BS that they basically play out. I don't argue with them as far as it's concerned because if whatever they're doing, they know they're fully aware. Most of them are fully aware of what's going on. It's just unfortunate because there are people who get caught in the crossfire who are actually good people. They're either being fed lies, deceitful information, and they get caught up in something that if they knew the full story of it, they would want no part of it. Not even, no matter what the enemy would say, they would not want anything to do with it, period. Because one of the things I've come to realize, and this is the stasis for every target individual you can possibly think of, just on the basis of how things played out. There have been several occurrences of mass shootings over the past couple of years. Some of them of these individuals who are fully identified as target individuals. I'm sure most of you are already aware, but you see, they try to reassure themselves with the security and stability that they got people who are going to like defend them and their dirt and their dirt and all the stuff that they've done, all the wrongdoing that they did. And they seem to keep playing things on a reckless like mentality. Now, why is it reckless? It's simple. Because during the times of which they are perpetrating and the times of which it takes people to actually get from point A to point B, that is a spur of the moment event. I'm not advocating violence. I'm just stating a fact. No one's going to be able to just instantly teleport from 20 to maybe even 15 to 5 or even to 10 miles away from doing surveillance to an immediate area to where a person is to stop a bullet. It just ain't gonna happen. They reassure themselves of this, and I refuse to believe that not any of these perpetrators have never been caught in the crossfire. I refuse to believe it. I just refuse. The way I look at it, I believe it's a psychological operation to basically manipulate and twist the minds of people to get them to believe the crap that they're being fed. People just to get them to reinsure themselves to go out there and commit these atrocities on the daily, and then they try to find excuse. Here's where it really gets out of hand. You see, they have to come up with excuses for why they do what they do, and they know it's built off the lie because they're not even sure of themselves of the crap that they tell themselves or tell other people. They always got to get that reassurance from another person, just to keep convincing themselves to believe something that's obviously false and it's obviously wrong. Because whether any of us acknowledge this or not, no human beings are God. Period. It's just not going to happen. All of us, regardless of our personality traits, we all came out of a womb. We all had a birth mother. We all had a father who also helped us with the birthing process of bringing us into this world. Right? God gifted us with a little bit of the capability of creation, and that's exactly what a lot of us are blessed with. Me personally, I don't know about anybody else, but I'm not planning on bringing my own into this world, not with this wickedness going down. And if I ever do settle down with a beautiful woman at some point, as to where I would devote my life and time to, I had to say, if we end up having kids at any point in time, they're going to be homeschooled. Because I don't know if any of you have noticed this. I'm going based off of my own experiences going through school as far as elementary and high school. And I'm also going off my experiences of the stuff that I have noticed through today's social engineering, as well as a couple of years before things have become, this widespread. Nowadays they don't even hide it anymore. They just put it out there, all the witchcraft, all the other types of stuff that you see, and then it's like people become so conditioned that they don't notice these things. They don't realize people are placing curses on them through the music they listen to, through the movies they watch, through the TV shows. All of these things are basically are deceptive. They got hidden messaging in them, and it's just not good for either you or anybody else. And especially for us back when we were all children ourselves, The worst part about it was that a certain generation of our ancestors knew that this stuff was wrong and they were ignored. And because of that happening over a period of time, it we are really lucky that people stayed devoted to knowing and exposing the deceptions that are taking place in this world. Because if God's children wasn't doing any of that, man, a lot of us would be lost, and a lot of us do get destroyed because of lack of knowledge. We get in, we will find ourselves involved in stuff that we wouldn't normally ever get involved in. I've talked to some people online before, some females, some guys, and a lot of them didn't even know the full extent of really what's going on. You see, they rely on people being blind, just thinking that a lot of these big companies, big industries are going to be their friend or be there for them, but in reality, they basically care less, because these industries want more for themselves and less for everybody else. That doesn't just include me. That doesn't just include you. That includes your children as well, the next generation and their children as well, and so on and so forth. It seems like there's no end to the amount of greed that's actually going out in this world. And what's worse is it's not just the industries. It's not just the companies. That's the problem. People in general their hearts have become black with corruption. They have in all sense of the world, where you can actually see people's desperation for this stuff through social engineering. The fact that we've lost the knowledge in a way, the teachings, basically what I mean by the teachings is the normal stability of teaching one's own younger generation, the ability of self-preservation, like being able to make your own house, your own boat, how to grow food, how to do all of that stuff. A lot of these things are basic necessities that are on a need to know basis because of how beneficial they are in the long run. Sure, you can catch a person a fish and feed them for a day, but you can teach a person how to fish and feed them for a lifetime, and that's what really counts. I don't claim to be the best person in the world. I don't claim to be, anything like that. And in the end, a lot of us have to realize a lot of us have done some wrong in our lives. A lot of us have, basically have been scripted and tossed around by the system of deception. But everybody needs to understand this stuff seeks to betray all of us. This programs, any of these things that are hiring people off on the side, it seeks to betray everybody in some kind of way. And it ain't good for nobody at all to assist in it or even work for it. Due to the level of research and a lot of the stuff that's been exposed about these companies, man, that are involved, a person or even an organization, a smear campaign of any kind, they can talk as much trash about a single individual as they want. However, the most hypocritical thing a person can ever do is work for an industry that have committed every single atrocity in the book. That's the worst thing you could possibly do. And to sit there and get in your head that you can cast judgment on somebody else, that person has truly lost their minds. Once again, I don't claim to be the best person in the world, but I'll be damned if I work for an organization that has done such atrocities as to what it has done. And that's saying something for sure. Normally, I would give you all an update on my current situation, but I wanted to also give a warning out about this in general, because a lot of people don't seem to understand when they make their videos. You need to be careful, because when you drop certain bits of information down, anything related to shielding, anything related to your current scenario, what works, what doesn't work, they're watching these videos that you make, and they're looking at this as the key points on how to manipulate you, what messes with you, how to get in your head. And of course, they're doing this through technology alone. Many people jump on the social media platforms and a lot of the stuff, and they just do not do the research on any of these things. They don't understand that TikTok basically, well, China is involved with basically stealing your info through that app, which of course, well, they probably would do it anyway, regardless. But still, I'm not going to give consent to that. I don't know anybody. But you see, the thing is not. Some people still use it as a way to push out truth, which I understand. That's perfectly fine, as long as you understand the risk involved. But at the same time, there's other, it's not even just TikTok. There's other platforms as there as well. I've talked about Facebook in the past before. I've told you all about how the stuff that they were doing and how this was potentially dangerous. Now it started off as an app on your phone, and you had the option to delete it. Now it upgrades from that to an app that you cannot delete that's on your phone. It's just pre-installed and it's stuck. The only way you're going to get it off basically is to have a jailbroken phone. You got to jailbreak it just to get it off. And now I basically purchased a device like about a couple of months ago, or it would have been a couple of months ago of this year. And I had to do it because unfortunately my last device before that got to the point to where it was just unusable. Screen cracked up to where you couldn't even see anything. So when I got this device and I turned it on, and I noticed they started pre-installing TikTok. Yeah, the app I said I would never even bother with or use, it was pre-installed on there. I factory reset the phone several times, and sure enough, there it was several different times. An app I wanted nothing to do with, but there it is. Of course, Facebook and TikTok aren't the only nefarious companies out there. There are other ones as well that are constantly collecting your information. But to jump back on the topic of Facebook, it started off as an app that you can basically delete and uninstall. Then it got to the point where you could not uninstall it anymore. The only thing you could do was disable it, and they'll say, oh, well, all you got to do is just disable the app, but they still have system apps on there. They won't let you delete it. They'll tell you can just disable it, but the fact of the matter is that you can't uninstall it. Why? This is the same company that was brought up into court. Don't forget, the CEO of this company had a photo of him having a laptop with tape on the camera. There's an obvious indication and reason for that. That was not done by accident. Such a tactic was coming from a person who actually knew, who had already pre-existing knowledge of what was really going on. So now it's getting to a point to where it's developing even farther, and now it's becoming even more and more questionable. It's gotten into watches. It's gotten into other things as well. Not just watches. It's gotten into glasses, and it's just started to elevate into other things, right? So now the last thing I've seen before the current thing I've seen would have been they're starting to come out with they came out, well, actually, no, they didn't start to. They actually just said they were doing it. They had a presentation where they're saying that they're going to invest money into brain interface technology, right? So, okay. Remember, Facebook is an app now that you can't delete. You can only disable it, right? That's on your device. So I noticed something that, and this was going on in China during the whole COVID scenario that when it was at its peak. So I noticed that this was a school out in China, and the parents had it wasn't really the parents that had this, but it was the teachers had these headsets that were on these kids' heads, right? And what this technology was doing was it was sending brain interface information from the headset to the phones. The app, remember the app that you cannot delete, okay? It's very important. So this would be sent over to the parents to let them know how their child was doing in school, whether they were paying attention, whether they were feeling fatigue, whether they were losing focus, or who knows what, right? Just regular stuff that you would get from an analyzation like that. So now it goes a little bit farther than just that. Now Facebook is investing money in, or either invested or they bought out a company known as Oculus Quest. It wasn't the first one that this happened with. It wasn't. It was the second one, and the second one that they came out with was marketed at a much cheaper price for more affordable for people. So now anybody could basically go out there if you had like at least over 200, not 200, but like $300 something, right? You can just go out and buy yourself a VR headset, and like the other prices for the other ones were like, I think like around 500 or 600 or $400 for the most part. So what you would be, and gamers saw this as an opportunity, saying, "Hey, reasonable price VR headset." But the problem was you need a Facebook account to use it. Keep in mind, this is the same company that got brought into court because they were basically digging for information of people who never gave consent of even using their platforms. Okay, they were gathering information from people who didn't even want anything to do with Facebook, yet Facebook wanted everything to do with them. But why is that? So now it goes even farther than that. You probably haven't noticed, but they started developing, they're trying to get people from using prescription glasses now, and they want people to use contacts more. Now they came out with something known as the smart contacts. Now, I don't know whether they have anything to do with that, but I don't doubt that it's going to eventually get into that direction. And now the company, Facebook, is developing itself all the way up into something known as Meta. Same company that's been driving into all of that is coming up with a more profound way of attracting more consumers to it. The scare already happened to where people were abandoning the company, abandoning the use of their platforms already. But now they're trying. It's the same thing that happened before. Google tried to get it what do they call that? The first thing, I would believe that this was just a test, right? And it was when Google decided to basically put its interest and investment into a gaming console. The amount of technology and amount of resources at Google's disposal, if they really wanted an addictive platform, if they really wanted something that was going to be like that, they would have done it. I suspect that that Stadia was just a test, just to see how that would go. And now the actual thing that's coming out is the Facebook. They're making Meta supposed to be more of like a video game, to where basically you create an avatar and you're actually in the headset. Keep in mind, I told you before, they're investing into brain interface technology. This stuff is not for your benefit. Why? The COVID tests have been exposed in a way to where people literally saw these things moving around. I posted a video, or rather I shared a video of a lady who got a hold of some of the strip tests that they would use, and she compared that to ordinary cotton, and the cotton wasn't moving, okay? But the stuff that was on the other thing, the other tips of the tests, those were moving. She identified those things as the Morgellon fibers or whatever, the stuff that are out there in the geoengineering that they're doing. Keep in mind, this is yet another reason why I say people really shouldn't work for this industry that is targeting us. It's because, bro, and sisters out there, spiritual sisters and spiritual brothers out there, when they do that, that's basically them saying F you to everybody. That's basically them saying F you to me. That's them saying F you to you. And that's saying F you to basically everybody and their kids when they do that. And people don't know that. A lot of people don't understand that at all. They don't know. They do not know what that stuff does. They do not know what that stuff is capable of. They have no idea. And people would wonder why there's such a tremendous amount of backlash against that. Let me tell you something, man. They have a lot of reasons as to why they don't want people digging in that line of knowledge. They don't want people breaking free from that. And they sure as heck don't want people detoxing from it. They don't want that. There's a reason why they do that. There's a reason why they put the, what do they call that? What do they call that word that they put in a drink in the city's water system? Fluoridation, fluoride. Yeah, that's what it is. There's a reason why they do that. So I hope people try to understand the significance of this on why they should not work for any of these organizations that are targeting us, because this is something that can easily go after anybody, and they already have started, basically. This stuff has already started making its way into that line of area. People who would honestly believe them telling them that they're not going to be targeted or not going to be harmed in any way, shape, or form, it's a complete lie, because they're doing it anyway. They're doing it anyway, and I don't understand why people don't get that through their heads. They don't have to go after certain people directly because they're blind, they're asleep, and they're not asking the proper questions, and they're not seeing things how they're supposed to be seen. They're not looking for the right answers, and they're not asking the right questions. And in the end, they're getting screwed over and not even seeing it. The system doesn't want people who are cognitive thinkers, people who are freedom fighters, people who actually give a damn about the citizens of this country. They don't want people like that. That's why they target people like that. People who would fight for you, people who would actually die for you, people who would give their life if it means the freedoms of many different people out there in this country. If it means people can actually walk out of their homes, walk down the street and feel safe. They don't want people like that, man. They don't. They secretly target people like that and secretly smear campaign them because of how much of a threat they are. This whole damn system is wicked, bro. All of it is wicked, man. The whole damn thing is wicked in so many ways. They lie, they cheat, they steal, and they connive their way. They have been conniving this way through many people's lives, people who have done nothing to them. The thing is, you don't even have to spit out truth just to be targeted. You don't even have to know anything about any of these organizations to be targeted. Why? Because there's something very special about a lot of us, those of us who become specifically targeted. No matter how you look at it, there's always a reason behind it. They'll try to label it off as revenge. They'll try to label it off as a simple point of interest. They'll try to do all of that. But the simple fact of the matter is, everybody is technically secretly targeted in some amount of way, even if you're not aware. And if they're not, then why are they spraying the sky so much? Why are they contaminating the water so much? Why is it that certain things in the ingredients of foods that are being sold in our supermarkets are basically banned in other countries? Why? It was a mother, I've watched this compilation of videos. There was a mother who basically bought some food, what she was going to cook for her family, her husband and her children, right? And it was chicken. She balled that she was able to ball that chicken up. This stuff was just like, the silly putty that you would buy from the dollar in a cheap dollar store. They came in those little egg-shaped things, right? I remember because I used to mess around with that stuff when I was a kid. You can actually use that as a bouncing ball, or you can actually put it up against a newspaper and see the ink printed right out on the putty itself, right? She was able to ball that chicken up and bounce it off the floor, and it bounced up. I kid you not. I kid you not. The wickedness is being done to everybody, but the problem is a lot of people don't see it. A lot of people don't want to see it because they're too afraid to open their minds up to that amount of truth. The amount of cruelty, the amount of wickedness that goes on in this world is completely despicable. It is. I want to be grateful that I didn't bring my own into this world to have to suffer through this, you know? Maybe if I chose to do things differently, maybe my situation would be somewhat different. Maybe I wouldn't doubt that the fact that I would still be targeted, right? I don't doubt that at all. But if I had done things differently, I wouldn't have met any of the wonderful people that I've met in my life, who I am truly both indebted and grateful to. And I am most damn certain grateful to God because it shows that even in such a wicked, a world with so much witchcraft, so much wickedness going on, so much deception, greed, malice, and hate, even in a world that's like that, there's still good people out there. There are. There's still good people out there who actually give a damn, who actually would give you their last dime just in order to basically help somebody out. There are still people out there like that, and don't let anybody ever tell you otherwise. Because the reality of it is, they don't want people thinking that way. They don't want they want you to think that they want you to be isolated. They want you to think that there's no good in this world. They want you to think that it's nothing but just pain, misery, and slavery, and all this and all that other type of negative stuff. All of it's just negative, 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 no positive. They want you in that mindset. And I'm here to tell you, don't let them put you there. Don't let that happen. You are better than that. You know better than that. We all do. It's not going to be easy. You're going to have people try to put you down. You're going to have people try to lower your self-esteem. You're going to have people do things in a way to where it's either flaunting something, showing something off in a way to try to either get you in a jealous-like state, to get you in a hateful-like state, to put you, anything that they can possibly think of to put you in a mentality of hate or anything that's negative. But even when you're striving and you're succeeding, you still need to be careful. Don't let this deceitful nature of pride be able to grasp a hold of you. Don't let it happen, because even that itself is a sin. And with that, I end this video here. I'm hoping everybody out there is doing well. And as always, stay safe, stay strong.